So guys, welcome to the Kofi Zulu podcast. In recent time, I had a lengthy conversation with a colleague of mine who resides in the United States. And out of this conversation gave birth to this topic, Europe or North America, the real truth. Where do immigrants really succeed? Most of us dream of moving abroad. But the big question is, should you move to Europe or North America? Where do immigrants thrive? In this video, I'll break it down from lifestyle, opportunities, money, and success. Relax, sit down, don't be in rush. Watch this video to the end. Now, to be able to actually assess where to move to, we have to take a lot of things into consideration. It's like doing a research work, actually. However, in my view, I'm just looking at only 5 major things. And the first one is immigration uncertainty. Now, when we talk of immigration, a lot of people do not understand, especially when you have not traveled. So for me personally, if you have to move abroad, I'm becoming serious here. If you have to move abroad and you have to sell properties, trust me, whether North America or Europe, make sure you pass through the right process. Or make sure you pass through the legal process, because there are legal ways. Why am I saying this? I came here as a student and the process for me was different and still different. The thing is that most of countries change their immigration laws after every year. So if there are loopholes, they close it and bring new law. And sometimes from students, before you change to become a resident, it is another process altogether. Sometimes you have to go to legal processes, and these things take time. Now, even if you arrive as an asylum seeker, trust me, this process is very, very lengthy. The trick here also is that when you are an immigrant, you have to be renewing your permit as time goes on, whether 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, until you become a resident. These things take time. Some countries 5 years, some countries 10 years. So you must think about this before you move. Now, for me, I think that personally, in current time, Europe is far better than the United States. Because when you're looking at North America, the major countries, you're talking of United States, Mexico, and then Canada. If you look at the situations we have now, Europe is far better in terms of what? Immigration. Now, point 2, we look at job opportunities. Guys, trust me, getting job as a foreigner, it is not an easy thing at all. That is why most of the times you hear people say, okay, Ghanaians in certain countries, they are only doing this particular job. And in another country, yeah, they are doing this particular job. Yes, it's true. Because see, before you enter the country, the government, they've already created certain types of job for immigrants. So when you come, whether you like it or not, you have to start from somewhere. It is not easy at all. And sometimes your academic credentials will not get you the job, because most of the time these jobs are based on referral. That is why you go to countries like United States, you see Ghanaians doing certain particular type of job more, and in other countries it's like, because these countries, they create these jobs down for foreigners. So before you enter, that is where you find yourself. Now, before you can make some difference, it means that you have to go through the process, understand how that system works. Then you can also readjust and find where is best suited for you. For instance, in a place like France, it is very difficult for foreigners to get a very, very good jobs. Why? Because the government creates platform to support their own. And in their laws, they even require businesses to submit to the authorities that give the permit that why do you want to employ a foreigner whilst we have our citizens. So employers do not really want to go through that stress. You understand? So when it comes to job and opportunities, it is not easy. But here, I think that the United States does better in terms of immigrants. So for point 2, US takes it. Now, let's go to point 3. Here, we talk about what? The cost of living in abroad is very, very, very expensive. Now, your pay slip, rent can take half of your pay slip. There are situations where government supports people. So if you look at the Europe culture, it's a socialized system. So government supports rent and family, people with a lot of family, government support them. So it is more easier in Europe as compared to the United States, where government really does not get involved with people's rent, expenses, and stuff like that. So for me, I think point 3 goes to Europe. Now, let's move to point 4. every individual to become successful in life, you need to do one major thing. And this thing is called what? Investment. The United States has always led the world when it comes to innovation, support young individuals to become millionaires. It is very easy in the United States. Now, when it comes to Europe, that thing, don't try. Even as an immigrant, before you can start a business, it takes a lot of laws because they intentionally put in laws that really don't give immigrants that upper hand. No, you understand? In Europe, hardly you see investment for people being aggressive. The culture here is not to see people become millionaires. The culture here is to see people on a balance. That is why because if government is supporting you, paying your rent and stuff, giving your kids some family support, you don't expect to be using that money to invest to become a wealthy person. No, the system actually discourages people from even working more. The more you work, the more tax you pay. Finance will say what? Progressive. The tax is progressive and very harsh. Why? Because government is actually investing in you by providing the best medical facilities. And when you become old, so assuming you work a lot of hours, you become very old, and then government have to pay for your hospital bills. No. So government restrict you how many hours you have to work, stuff like that. So when it comes to investment, I think United States takes it. Now the last point, which is the fifth point. Then here we talk about what? Having the opportunity to move from one country to the other. So if you have a permanent resident or in any of these countries, you could move from France to Italy, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Switzerland. So you have the opportunity to just move around. Do you understand? But when it comes to North America, if you want to move to Mexico, I'm sure there are some certain restrictions, unless maybe you are a passport holder. I think you have more opportunities to move from country to country when it comes to distance. So in total, I would say that the United States has always placed itself at a position where even though immigration issues are very, very critical in current times, but a lot of people end up making wealth from the United States. So United States has taken this one. So if you want to move, you are not well established, you should consider Europe because the system here is more like a socialized system. It doesn't push you to overwork and stuff like that. But in the United States, you have all these opportunities. If you want to die on the job, go make your dream come true. So if you have to sell properties to make it to the United States, I think I would do that if I had to. But in coming to Europe, I don't think it is the best of option because it will take you time to make that work. But Charlie, if you have enjoyed this video to this time, Charlie, it takes a lot to create this type of content. You know, we are all just here to help each other. It costs you nothing to subscribe to the channel. I love you. And thank you for sharing, liking. The like alone also bring other people on board. Thank you for being part of this dream.